Hello YouTube! We're on the Real Programming channel. I'm its host. My name is Andrei. I greet you. Welcome on my channel. This is our fourth lesson. It's about HTML, PHP MySqL, and we'll talk about the server turns PHP into HTML. Okay, a big part of understanding how a PHP script works is getting a handle of what happens to the script when it runs on the server. Most PHP scripts contain both PHP code and HTML code, and the PHPs run and turn into HTML before the server passes the whole thing of as HTML to the client web browsers. In Owen's report.php script, PHP code generates most of the HTML content in the body of the confirmation page. The HTML code surrounding it is delivered unchanged. This HTML code is passed along unchanged to the browser. This PHP code is run by the server and generates HTML code containing data that was entered into the form. More static HTML code, which the server passes along to the browsers with no changes. And static, it doesn't change. Dynamic, it changes every time someone submits the form. The HTML code is created on the fly by the PHP script, which allows it to do cool things like blend in form data that was just entered. And the result of the PHP script is a pure HTML web page that was dynamically generated on the server. Okay, the construction Owen's PHP script. The report.php script is triggered by the report on an abduction form, and its job at the moment is to take the form data and generate a confirmation web page. Let's see how. The first chunk of code is pure HTML. It just sets up the page variability, including a few HTML text required of all pages. Yes, think this HTML code is pretty minimal. Ideally, you'd have a doc type meta tag, etc., but we're keeping things simple here. Here's where things start to get interesting. We're all ready to break out of HTML code and into PHP code. This is tag opens a section of PHP code. Everything following this tag is pure PHP. From here on, we're dealing with PHP code at least until we get to the closing tag. Closing tag, it is like this. For example, this is it. Closing tag. This code grabs the form data and stores it away an individual variable, so that we can easily access it later. PHP variables allow you to store values, be they numbers, text, or other kinds of data. Each line of PHP code assigns the data from a form field to a new variable. Now we're talking. Here is the variables we just created our put to work by inserting them into dynamically generated HTML code. The echo command outputs HTML code that gets returned directly to the web browser. This PHP code blends variables into HTML code that's output to the browsers. This tag matches up with the closing tag, open text, and it closes up a section of PHP code. From here now on, we are back to normal HTML code. At this end of the PHP code, after this we're back to normal HTML. Now wrap Up the page by closing out the HTML text we opened earlier. Don't forget, we're generating an HTML web page, so wrap up the HTML code. A few PHP rules to code by. Owen's report.php script reveals a few fundamental rules of the PHP language that apply to all PHP scripts. Let's take a look at them. Your PHP code goes here. PHP code is always enclosed by this text. Most PHP scripts are just HTML web pages with PHP code thrown in. This text tells the server what code is PHP. Every PHP statement must end with a semicolon. This is semicolon. Okay. If your code ever breaks a check, to make sure you haven't forgotten a semicolon, it happens more often than you would think. The semicolon lets PHP know that this is the end of a statement. If there is any PHP code in a web page, it's a good idea to name the file on the web server with .php and not .html. This isn't a deal breaker, but it's a good idea to name PHP scripts with a .php file extension. PHP variables names must begin with a $things. The $things clearly identifies a PHP variables which stores information within a PHP script. Given the variables used in the report.php script, do you see any other PHP rules pertaining to variables? Write on your sheet of paper and tell me in comments, for example, please. Okay, finding the perfect variable name. A variable is a container that you can store data in. The variable has a unique name. In addition to start with a $, PHP variable names are also case sensitive. But that's not all. There are other important rules governing how you name variables. Some of these rules are syntax rules, meaning your code will break if you ignore them, while other rules are just good ideas passed down from wise old PHP codes. Let's start with official rules that will absolutely cause problems if you ignore them when naming variables. Follow these rules to create legal variables names. First, the first characters must be a $sign. For example, this. Got it. A variable name must be at least one character in length, not counting the character with required variable name of every variable name. The first character after the $sign can be a letter or an underscore. This. And the characters after that can be a letter, an underscore, or a number. Spaces and the special characters other than underscore and $, are not allowed in any part of a variable name. This is legal, illegal. But hyphens aren't allowed in a PHP variable names. This legal, illegal. PHP variable names can't contain hyphens or spaces. In this illegal, PHP variable names must start with a $sign. These rules will stop your code working if you don't follow them, but there are a couple more rules that are good to follow as more of a coding convention. These rules help make PHP code a little more consistent and easier to read. Use all lower case for variables names. Separate words in a multi-word variable name with an underscore. And the last two rules won't break your code if you ignore them, and you'll certainly run across PHP code that doesn't adhere to them yet works just fine. This is because they are just a stylistic convention, but they will serve you well as you begin creating and naming variables of your own. Okay, PHP variable names must begin with a $, sign and cannot contain spaces. Okay, there are no dumb questions, and variables are for storing script data. We will talk about this in the next lesson, and you will find the code on materials this lesson under this video in the description link to Google Drive. And this is our 4th lesson about PHP MySqL is over with HTML, of course. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel, please put likes and share with friends. And remember, please comment and do exercise more often than every day and do regularly, preferably in the evening after you have done all the work. Meditate, drink more water for the brains, and thank you. Bye.